Welcome back to FZ Architecture, where we explore iconic works of architecture from around the world, always through the lens of a practicing architect. Today, we're diving into one of Frank Lloyd Wright's lesser-known but deeply fascinating residential designs, the Clarence W. Sondern House, originally built in 1939 and later expanded in 1948. Let's take a closer look at this example of Usonian architecture that blends modest scale with rich spatial complexity. At this point in his career, Frank Lloyd Wright had already developed a new vision for American housing: the Usonian home. These houses were meant to be affordable, efficient, and fully integrated with their natural surroundings. Located in Kansas City, Missouri, the Sondern House reflects this philosophy perfectly, with horizontal lines, open interiors, and materials that connect the building with the landscape. This was one of the earlier Usonian homes, yet it carries all the DNA of Wright's mature thinking, with natural materials, an emphasis on horizontality, and a strong relationship between inside and outside. Now let's take a look at the floor plan, which helps us understand the logic of the design. Originally, the house was composed of three key spaces: a living room, a dining area, and a small kitchen, all aligned in a linear sequence. Over time, Wright added a large extension in 1948, nearly tripling its size. We can see in the plan how the added volumes include a master bedroom, additional service areas, and even a carport, reinforcing the horizontal expression and expanding the functional complexity of the home. Circulation is organized through a central gallery that connects the main areas. Notice how the layout is divided into public and private zones, with terraces and gardens anchoring both ends. The use of modular grid patterns is clear and intentional, a hallmark of Wright's planning. To really understand the Sondern House, we need to look at both the original 1939 design and the later expansion completed in 1948. The original plan is compact, elegant, and efficient. It consists mainly of a central living room with built-in seating and a fireplace as the focal point. This space flows into a small dining area and an adjacent galley-style kitchen, all arranged on a modular grid. Private rooms are located toward the rear, including a bedroom, bath, and dressing area with access to a terrace and balcony. Even in this early version, you can see Wright's use of geometry, natural light, and visual connection to the exterior. The use of built-ins, brickwork, and clerestory windows creates a warm, human-scaled space, something essential to the Usonian vision. Nearly a decade later, Wright was asked to expand the house, and he did so in a way that feels completely seamless. The extension added a new master bedroom suite, nursery, expanded service areas, and a sitting room, effectively tripling the size of the home. A new gallery became the main circulation axis, connecting the original structure to the new volumes. The extended wing unfolds around a second garden and terrace, continuing the same spatial rhythm and material language. What's remarkable is how consistent the detailing is, from the floor grid to the built-ins, from the proportions of openings to the alignment of walls and overhangs. Wright didn't just add rooms, he reinforced the architectural narrative. Looking at both plans side by side, we see two key ideas. First, how Wright's original concept was already rooted in modularity and adaptability. And second, how the expansion maintained the architectural integrity, enhancing the home's livability without compromising its character. As we move inside the Sondern House, we enter a world crafted entirely by Frank Lloyd Wright, from the materials and proportions to the furniture and finishes. One of the first things you notice is the consistent use of horizontal lines, the brick joints, the wood paneling on the ceiling, and even the furniture all emphasize the same visual language, anchoring the house to the ground and stretching it outward. The living room is the heart of the home. Here, Wright's philosophy is on full display: warm materials, natural light, and spatial clarity. The room is enclosed by full-height glass panels that dissolve the boundary between inside and outside. The views of the garden become part of the room itself. The brick flooring continues from the exterior into the interior, reinforcing the connection to the landscape. Above, the wood ceiling floats gently over the space, with built-in lighting and clean detailing that avoids any ornamentation. This creates a calm, almost meditative atmosphere. The dining area continues the same language. Built-in seating and custom furniture reflect Wright's desire to design everything, not just the architecture, but the lifestyle within it. There's a sense of intimacy here, with lower ceilings and carefully framed views. The materials, brick, wood, and glass, remain consistent, creating a unified and timeless interior. Even the kitchen, although modest in size, is extremely efficient and well integrated into the overall plan, just as Wright intended in his Usonian concepts. Moving into the private areas, we find cozy, human-scaled spaces like the study. These rooms are not overly large, but they're rich in character. Built-in shelves, warm textures, and indirect lighting create a peaceful and functional environment. The study in particular feels like a retreat, a place of reflection and work, surrounded by natural views. Every space seems to have been designed not just for use, but for experience. How light enters, how textures change throughout the day, how each material feels in contact with the body. What makes the interiors of the Sondern House truly remarkable is their coherence. Everything belongs, not just visually, but conceptually. Wright believed that architecture should support the way we live, and here we see that principle realized with precision. It's a space where material, proportion, and nature come together to form a complete and harmonious environment. The Clarence W. Sondern House is a beautiful example of how architecture can evolve without losing its soul. What began as a compact Usonian residence grew into a more complex home, and yet every addition respects the original spirit. Wright's mastery lies not only in his bold concepts, but in the way he shapes space, light, and material to serve human life. The way the interiors blend with the exterior, the use of organic materials, and the integration of furniture into the architecture, all of these elements create a complete vision. For architects and students alike, it's a reminder that thoughtful design doesn't shout. It endures, it adapts, and it elevates everyday life. Thank you for watching FZ Architecture. If you enjoyed this project, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below.